what we do in the project, I have the internet cloud. Actually, I use the cloud when I put it here in my front end here in my dashboard. I configure it, and you see I'm using the ETH1. Okay, so ETH1 basically is the interface which allows me to be able to ping from the virtual machines my real machine and vice versa. So I'm gonna demonstrate for you when we start the firewall, which I already had actually the image, and I just implemented it back. Now the idea here is with this remote so-called computer, which I'm not gonna start anyways because there is it's not connected really to this cloud. It just it's kind of a symbol which shows that from my real computer, that's the IP address 172.16.100.148. I'm gonna be able to access this internal network, meaning I will be able, like from internet, to access a LAN, and from LAN to access the internet. I'm gonna demonstrate afterwards that I'm gonna be able to ping both directions from internal side to outside to this IP address, and from this IP address from my real computer, any entities or most of the entities within, especially the web server. Now, you see that they have a little bit of funny name. So www30, that means it's a web server and it's a part of the VLAN 30. And .3010 means it will have an IP address of 192.168.30.10. This is for the interface of the router, 192.168.31. The internal network between the three-layer switch, well, by the way, all the switches are by default three-layer. I'm going to use them like this. And on the viral image which I'm using, basically, I don't need to do IP routing command because it's by default there in three-layer switch mode. So basically, this is my distribution switch, and this is the network between it and the firewall interface. So that's basically the LAN interface of the firewall. As a firewall, I'm using pfSense. Okay. Then I showed you how to install it and how to implement it in the previous movie, so it's already here. Once again, the network I'm going to use between these interfaces will be this one. Well, basically, this interface here, GI00 on the distribution switch, will be stopped. It won't be anymore with the command of no switch port. So basically, I'm going to implement a real IP address on this one. This is my access switch, and on it I'm going to have the three VLAN. I'm going to have the VLAN 10, the VLAN 20, and VLAN 30 also propagate. My native VLAN I'm going to change to 100. And the concept is the same. When you see PC10, that means this is a computer from the VLAN 10 and the IP address 192.168.10.100. For this PC, 192.168.20.100. Both PCs, they will take DHCP from the servers. Now, when you see these numbers behind the different roles of the servers here, these are obviously Windows servers. Primary domain controller, which will be on the VLAN 10, backup domain controller, which will be on VLAN 20. Here's the IP addresses. And basically, one means this is the primary domain controller, the DNS, DHCP. There will be a failover for the DHCP. DNS will be having a backup DNS by using a stop zone eventually, and we have the DFS. We're going to have some quota for some of the users. We're going to create some users on both computers, some groups. There will be some quota, and I haven't put it here, but one of the computers will have also a print server on it, which will have some limitations against some of the users. Basically, the web server, once again, will be this computer. It's in our DMZ. That's why this switch is called DMZ switch, obviously. And basically, that's how the infrastructure will look like. Okay, pretty simple one, and eventually will encompass all of the knowledge gathered up to now. Okay, so let's start working on it. The first thing what I would like to start and configure will be my firewall. So I will do start on it, and we'll open the console. It's booting up. Yeah, we wait this to finish boot, and we're gonna do some settings, some setups of the three interfaces we have here. So to be sure that they are okay. I see it doesn't show all the interfaces. So basically what I'm gonna do, we'll use first the, by the way, EM0, if you see, it has the IP address of 192.168.189.149. So basically I could add this address. That's what the virtual machine is giving me. As a demonstration though, what I said before, so let's put it first 192.168. So 192.168. 189.149. That was 24. And basically we're gonna move 149. So we expect also that the default gateway is .1. We're gonna check this and we're gonna change it if it's different. As well as you see, that's my local station actually, my real computer. So if I do CMD here and I do ipconfig, you're gonna see that's my IP address actually. Here it is, 172.16.100.148. So if I ping from here the IP address, which is this guy here, 190. So if I do ping 192.168.189.149. Actually, when we ping the default gateway, as you see, it's pingable. Okay, now it's pingable, the default gateway. We need to implement the nothing here, and we're going to be able to ping after this, well, some rules which at the moment the firewall itself blocking. As soon as we allow these rules, we're going to be able also to ping. So it will look like we're pinging, even though it's 172. Most of the time when you start the firewall, you need to allow private addresses to ping, because this is a private address. Otherwise, if it's an internet, it will be able to ping right away. So I just need to uncheck the box there. I'm going to show it to you from the graphical interface, and immediately after this I will be able to ping this address too, basically. Okay, so but it's a good thing that we see that we are able to ping the default gateway, which is this one, and we proved we has proven that this is the default gateway. Okay, for now that's fine. Let's proceed with the manipulation and initial settings of the firewall. So the first thing we need to say, we need to protect EM0 as our WAN interface, as our LAN interface. So I just put it then. That's the WAN interface. All of here is a LAN, and this one is our DMZ. Okay. Now at the end of the day, I'm going to actually add some additional shapes here, which will eventually show us even better. But for now, in terms of being a little bit not so overwhelmed with writing things on the returning stuff on the infrastructure, I'll leave it like this. Okay, so let's see what we can do. So as we mentioned, this one we need to protect. EM1 we need to change to 172.31.100 subnet, and we need to add the EM2. So what we need to do is number one, assigning interfaces. By the way, we could add this interface after. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do the VLANs after this. We're going to say no now from the graphical interface. So the one interface will be EM0, and the LAN interface would be EM1. Okay, and the optional one will be EM2. Apparently that will be our DMZ zone. We're going to configure more in deep after this, and we click nothing to finish. So here they are. We say yes. The next option, we need to set the interfaces. Once again, we have now the three interfaces. We have this one by DHCP. It's perfect. Now we need to change the LAN interface, and the OPT1 we need to assign the IP addresses, and actually that's the option 2. So click 2. 1, I don't need to do anything. DHCP is fine. I'm gonna say now number 2 for the LAN interface. It's asking me if I would like to use an IP address there statically, which I'm going to use 172.31.100.1. This subnet mask will be 24-bit long. For a one, enter a new LAN IP version upstream gateway. Nothing of this we're going to use now. It's a LAN. We're going to just press enter. IPv6 we don't want it, so we click enter again. DHCP server on the LAN. Yes, actually, no, I don't want to allow that. I'm gonna assign on the server statically on this switch, on the distribution switch, this IP address statically. So I'm gonna say no here. And basically, it's asking me if I would like to revert the HTTP as the web configurator protocol. So basically, that would be the initial state of our when we access the firewall through the graphical interface. Normally you need to change to the HTTPS, but because it's a LAP, we're not going to overwhelm too much this. I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use HTTP as such. Don't forget though, in a production environment, it's supposed to be an HTTPS. Otherwise, all of your work will be exposed to people who might sniff. So I'm going to say yes here and enter. And basically, it has an IP address. I'll click enter to continue. And I need to create now, I need to configure the OPT1. So I'll click again the option 3 for the IP addresses of the interfaces. And then, well, it's, oh, I'm sorry, that's to reset the web configurator password. Anyway, we need to do it. I will say yes. And for the default user admin, the password will be reset to pfSense. From my LAN interface, which I just configured. That's okay. And then we're gonna click 2 again, just to configure OPT as well. And that will be number 3 here. Well, for the OPT, IP address, we're gonna use something, and afterwards we're gonna add the V1 on it. So I'm gonna use 192.168.50, something which is not taken, .1. Okay, I'll choose the 24-bit mask, and I'll click again enter for none, enter again for none. Do you want to enable DHCP? Well, I might want to check something, but you know, I will have the DHCPs on this server. I rather do a relay on one of the servers, and or on the pfSense itself. After this, if I would like from one of the DHCP servers to provide the IP address to some of the computers inside, for now I'm gonna say no. I could always change it from the graphical interface afterwards. And we're done. Here it is. We're okay. So I resetted the password. Basically, my work is done here. I don't need to do anything else. Now, I need to have a way to access. I need to be able to access this from this environment. I need to be able to access the graphical interface. To do this, I'm going to use a Firefox, a very lightweight Linux machine with graphical interface, just to use basically the web interface. I'll click available appliances. I'll go to the computer appliances and I'll navigate to Firefox where it says. Just drag and drop. Next. There is no choice. I need to accept this one. Next again. Now I don't have it at the moment, so I'm going to do download. It will go automatically downloaded from the GNS3 Marketplace. It's pretty straightforward. Most of the appliances from the GNS3 Marketplace are installed this way. So here it is. I'm waiting it to be downloaded. I'll say keep on this. And as soon as I have it, I would navigate to my import, I'll say. Then I'll navigate to downloads. And here it is, the Linux Tiny core. It will be imported and it will become green afterwards, so it will be found. Here it is. I just need to click on it, do next. We'll confirm the choice. I'll do next again, and next, and finish. And once I go to the installed appliances, I'm gonna see it when I go to all the appliances. Firefox will be here. Here it is. I could change actually here. I would do configure the template. I could change the symbol. I would use well, here it is. Firefox is this one, but I would like to use something more. I would say Linux guest. Okay, it's a Linux machine. Okay, and now I could drag and drop it. Now, this switch, the distribution switch, the three-layer distribution switch is, I'll call this test actually first. And that will be my machine. I'm going to test some stuff on it. When I need to test it, I'm going to connect it to the distribution switch. Now, this distribution switch hasn't been configured yet. So, by default, is part of the VLAN 1. Okay. And basically, without any problems, I will be able to access this interface. Okay, well, I need to configure the IP address, and maybe I could say for this interface, I would do initially DHCP. So let's do it again, because, you know, I don't want to play with the IP addresses here. So I'll say send interface IP address, so 2, and I'm going to choose number 2. I'm going to put the same information, 172. 31 dot 100 dot 1 24-bit mask. Enter and enter. Now I'm gonna say yes afterwards from the graphical interface. I'll stop it. I'll put something here, so the initial will be 172.31, 100, let's say 100, and the other one will be 172.31.100.199, and basically we expect then the Linux computer to receive an IP address out of this range. So I need to start the three-layer switch too, so I'm going to start it, as well as I'm going to start the guest switch I just implemented. And basically, I need to wait a little bit until I'll open the console just to see when the switch will be on. Well, it will boot now. And as well as I will open the console for the this computer, well, it will be much faster booted actually. So this one, we need to wait a little bit for it. And now, as you could see, the switch is on. So let's test the appliance now. Okay. I could open basically, I could open here the CMD, and I could do ifconfig. And as we expect, I have an IP address of 172.31.100.100. That's good. So let's do again. So what we need to do is to put the IP address of our LAN interface of the switch, which is 172. The pfSense, I'm sorry, 31.100.1. I'll click enter. The default one is pfSense, if you remember. pfSense, well, the admin actually is the username, and pfSense is the password. I will be forced to go through the through the initial wizard. I'll do it. I'll do next. Here, this one, it's not relevant. I just need to click next here. pfSense is it sounds pretty good for me. I could join it to the domain after this if I want. So I could call it pfSense, or let's use whatever we're using actually here as a name. It would be firewall. So I'm going to call it FW, and I'm going to use a domain of test.l. I'm going to join it eventually afterwards to this domain. Primary DNS, secondary DNS for now, we're going to leave like this. Further, we're going to add, when we configure our DNS servers here, we're going to add this here, plus we need to configure the VLANs. So I'll do next. That's the time server, etc, UTC. I could choose here the America and my location. Okay, which is very close to Toronto. Here it is. I'll say next. The one interface, we set the HCP is fine. We're gonna leave it like this. Now, let's go here and check to the bottom. Okay. Now that's what we need to uncheck. Normally you don't uncheck this too, but since our internet will have a static IP address, that's the IP address I'm having, guys, here. Well, basically, I need to uncheck these ones because they're private addresses, and I'll do next. Okay. Now the LAN IP address of my LAN interface is as such. We'll leave it like this. I could change the password or use the default one, which we use for any one of the device, and we always use in our labs. We'll do next. I need to reload the firewall. And basically what I need to do now is just to log out and to log in back with the admin and the new password, which I did. I could save it if I'm prompted to. I'll accept this one. I'll check if there are some updates, and I could update my firewall, but basically everything's here now because it's a very shrinked the interface. Basically, well, if I do it a little bit smaller, actually it might show at certain point, well, it cannot go smaller. That's why instead of having a full menu on the top, I have this hamburger type menu. When I click there, all of my menu items are here actually. Okay, for now I'll leave it like this. Okay. And I see the information about it here. Okay, the system is on the latest version, so we're using the latest version of the firewall. That's fine. These are the gateway, the DNS servers. Okay, so it might be 189.2 our default gateway. We need to check this. We're gonna check it afterwards. We could see it here from this interface, from some of the interfaces. By the way, what I need to change here, I want to make this as my actually that would be my network address. Okay, and I'm gonna put here the 140. It's not one. It's 148 here. .148. And actually my network is 16-bit one, so I'm gonna do here 0/16. Okay, I need to use the other switch too. Oops, 16, and I need to put the 0. 172. Okay, 0. And this is my network, and basically my gateway for this network is 172.16.100.1. So we have now complete information about our real, so that's our real infrastructure, about what the DMZ would be and what would be the LAN. Okay, so basically the primary configuration of the firewall has been done, plus the we're not gonna do this, plus the initial configuration on the firewall and the settings of this has been done. I'm gonna